To je plán, na to ideme to proudiť. Ako povedz, kontujeme zvukovú stopu, potom čas opustil členy rodiny, je to zlé. To je plán, na to ideme to proudiť. Takže zvuková stopa sedí. Oficiálne to spustíme, oficiálne začneme tu to migrefisstvo točiť. A dožijeme sa strašných časov samozrejme. A smrť člena rodiny nás tvrdo zasiahla znova. Takže ideme to oficiálne spustiť. Takže začíname 773. relaxačný tréningový deň. Je 31.12.2025. Máme sériu klikožrutov 100, 90, 80, 70 a 60 kliksterov. Začíname 17.10, piče som mal 16.10, každého podľa gusta, podľa svastiky. Začíname 17.10, ale prvá séria 100 klikožrutov, 100 kliksterov. Ale piče sa majú o hodinu menej, ako mám ja, lebo sú to choré jedince. Choré jedince. Takže to, čo on urgo, to akého chuja mali nám ide, to ako to razil, ako ma nakoniec pekne nažral, to rozhodlo v náš krvilačný prospech. Mali strašne chudého Midlana, čo bolo kľúčové. Midlana, ktorý namiesto toho by dával killy, razil jednu línu dopredu ako zmysel zbavený hulvát. Zmysel zbavený hulvát. Aha. Dobre. A druhá séria 900 klikov, čo 900 klikstov, pustíme to, co týče sa ako podmas.
Games earning the most revenue in 2025, and surprisingly, Throne and Liberty actually ranked insanely high. Now, this could mean two things, because one, that is good because that means we're probably going to get more focus and updates regarding Throne and Liberty, but at the same time, it doesn't completely make sense because Throne and Liberty numbers is at an all-time low and has been for a while now, and they're still earning that much money, which means there are probably some heavy whales supporting them. So this video is going to be covering what's going to be happening with Throne Liberty now that they're making so much money and why these pay-to-win systems are so good for these greedy companies. So here is the list. Now, it's not completely working on Steam because of some Steam issues. So the list is right here. The top list of it is Platinum. Now, these are the games on the Platinum. Now, these games are basically that earned the most revenue in 2025 on Steam. There's no particular order on this, but they made a lot of dollars. So games like Arc Raiders, of course, which is extremely popular, Monster Hunter Wilds, Apex Legends, you know, the big heavy hitters. Then you have the gold ranking, which is not in order, where you have Expedition 33, Game of the Year, by the way, Baldur's Gate, Elder Scrolls, EA Sports, of course, big gambling game, And then you have the silver. Now, this is where it's surprising. You have Throne and Liberty in the top 25. We don't know if it's going to be top 25 or is it top 50, but it's somewhere in between there. And honestly, the list right here, it is between some big heavy hitters. Like you have Dune Awakening, which popped up pretty high. Once Human, which has been extremely popular. So Throne Liberty matching these games is pretty impressive. And this is when it becomes a kind of weird because if you look at the Steam charts for Throne and Liberty, you will see this year, if you look at a year back, you will see that the game has actually been at an all-time low, taking a look at this, because the game was at an all-time low before the Talandra update, which is the massive expansion back in February, 33,000 players. Now, very important because a lot of people don't understand this. This number right here, the peak numbers that I'm showing, it's not how many people are playing. It's not 10,000 people playing this game. This is at the all-time peak during the day. Knowing Throne Liberty, we know this NA regions, EU regions, people log during ARPOS, whatever. This is just a number that people log on, and the most highest number during the day is online. Now, if you use the numbers, if you do the math, the game probably has over 100,000 to 200K players logging into the game once a week or every 2 weeks. We don't know the exact numbers, but it's way higher than this. But
Tretia
it's a
séria.
good way to
O
just
co si
check
klikol, že to
average
80
how active the game is, right? Now, it was at 33,000 in February, and then the game was kind of dying back then because it did go from like a pretty big steep down to 33,000, which is still really good. And then we had the Talandra update, and then after the Talandra update expansion, it dipped pretty fast. And it was at an all-time low, and I made a bunch of videos back then too about the game possibly dying and they needing to do something. And here they launched the Hyperboost servers, which is a new catch-up mechanic for new players to get back into the game, and new gear. So this popped up, almost doubled the numbers. And then now we are actually at an all-time low of 9,000. So the game had a big peak at the expansion and a smaller one during the Hyperboost servers, but it shouldn't be enough to make that much revenue. So where is this coming from? That's what's crazy. And the more you take a look at it, it is the whales. It is the way the game is designed. And unfortunately, since the launch, the game has become more and more pay to win, more predatory. And I kind of want to talk about this. Now, the first thing we kind of want to talk about is the ARC boss weapons, right, inside of the game. For the people that don't know anything about Throne Liberty, in the game, the best weapons are basically ARC boss weapons. The boss that spawns, and it's a very rare chance to drop an item. And these, for example, the daggers, which are extremely broken right now, has been for a while, are worth 23,000. And they need to keep certain weapons super broken because of prices like this. 33,000, if you do the in-game math, if you don't earn the money inside the game, you straight up buy it, which whales do. You will see that $100 is actually worth 6K. So basically $400 for the weapon, and then you have to upgrade it. Back in the day, it actually used to be certain ARC weapons used to be worth like 300,000, which was like thousands of dollars, like $4 or $5K, which was absolutely insane. But many of these whales are actually sitting on. I have some friends too. They're actually sitting on like 10 different ARC weapons. So basically thousands of dollars spent.
No, ideme na to.
Absolutely insane. So these
Štvrtá séria.
are giving
70
enough
klikov, že to
revenue
70
to the
klikov.
game where the Throne Liberty can earn that much money, even with the player base not being as high as some of the other games in the same spot. So this is like a huge problem, and it's been for a while, right? The same way it goes to the heroic weapons that they introduced to the game, but to get the heroic trait, you actually have to spend money. Now they're becoming a little cheaper, but they're still worth a lot of money, and you gotta spend this amount of money if you want to get the best gear. And again, some of the whales are sitting on 2-3 weapons with this decked out, because this game you can swap your classes whenever you want, and this is one of the biggest things where Throne Liberty has been making money for a long time. They make certain classes OP, they introduce new classes to the game, because there's so many weapon combinations, I think 50 weapon combinations. Whales just continuously swap. Now, as a free-to-play player, you guys have known me, I've been playing this, I haven't spent a single dollar, but as a free-to-play player, I don't have an ARC boss weapon. I used to have one, but it got nerfed to the ground. But aside from that, I've been playing SNS GS, and I can't swap, because to swap you need to have liquidity, which is Lucent, and to get that,
No, posledná séria, piata.
basically, you can earn
60
it, you
klikov
can
do
put
60
things out of
klik
game
sterov.
and drop good items, which is super rare. But at the end of the day, you got to spend money if you want to have a lot of different builds. So a lot of these whales have a lot of different builds, and they are able to swap between gear and items, because that's how Pro Liberty makes money. They introduce a new class, it's super broken, and people swap to it, and they introduce a new weapon, it's completely broken, people swap to it, and that's how they make insane amount of money through weapon swapping through the whales. So the whale thing has always been an issue inside of the game, and been for a long time, but now there's a second big problem that I have been talking about, which is the main problem for new players, and I would call dolphins, or people that don't spend money in the game. Because what they're doing right now is, back then you could have made a lot of Lucent by just playing the game, but recently it's getting harder and harder. They keep introducing new gear, and
Dobre. Je to za nami páni. Trošku dlhší segment, ale stále sa. Dobre. Je to za nami, poďme sa rekapitulovať. Takže 773. relaxačný tréningový deň za nami, bolo 31.12.2025, skončili sme 17.21, piču sa bol 16.21, každého pol augusta podľa svastiky, skončili sme 17.21, segment trval 12 minút a 10 sekúnd, dlhý čas.